colonial money machine, extraction and exploitation. At its core, colonialism was about making money. European powers saw colonized territories as sources of wealth ripe for extraction. This meant taking valuable resources like minerals, crops, and timber, often with little regard for the environmental or social consequences. Cash crops and monoculture. Colonial powers often forced colonized regions to focus on producing cash crops like sugar, cotton, or tobacco for export. This monoculture system disrupted traditional agricultural practices and made colonies dependent on the global market, leaving them vulnerable to price fluctuations and economic instability. Forced labor and slavery. The extraction of resources often relied on the exploitation of local labor. In many cases, indigenous people were forced to work in mines, plantations, or other industries under brutal conditions, sometimes even being enslaved. Unequal trade. The trade between the colonizers and the colonized was rarely fair. Colonies were forced to sell their raw materials at low prices and buy manufactured goods from Europe at inflated prices. This created a system of dependency that hindered the development of local industries and economies. Legacy of unequal development. The economic exploitation of colonial territories had a profound and lasting impact on global development. The wealth extracted from colonies fueled the industrialization and economic growth of European powers, while leaving many colonized regions impoverished and underdeveloped. Economic dependency. Colonial economies were structured to serve the needs of the colonizers. This often involved suppressing local industries and preventing the development of a diversified economy. As a result, many former colonies continue to struggle with economic dependency and limited industrial capacity. Infrastructure for extraction. Colonial powers built infrastructure, roads, railways, ports, primarily to facilitate the extraction of resources. This infrastructure often neglected the needs of the local population and further entrenched patterns of unequal development. Brain drain. Colonial powers often attracted the most talented and educated individuals from colonized territories to work in their own countries. This brain drain deprived colonies of valuable human capital and hindered their development. The struggle for economic justice. Continuing battle. The legacy of economic exploitation continues to shape the world today. Many former colonies are still grappling with the challenges of poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. However, there have also been significant efforts to challenge this legacy and seek economic justice. Decolonizing the economy. Movements for economic decolonization seek to dismantle the structures of dependency and exploitation that were put in place during the colonial era. This involves promoting local industries, fair trade practices, and greater control over natural resources. Reparations and restitution. Some argue that former colonial powers have a moral obligation to pay reparations for the harm caused by colonialism. This could involve financial compensation, the return of stolen cultural artifacts, and support for economic development projects in former colonies. Global solidarity. International cooperation and solidarity are essential for addressing the global inequalities that stem from colonialism. This involves supporting fair trade practices, investing in education and healthcare in developing countries, and advocating for policies that promote equitable development. The economic exploitation of colonial territories was a central feature of colonialism. Its legacy continues to shape the world today, with many former colonies struggling with the challenges of underdevelopment and inequality. However, there is also a growing movement for economic justice and decolonization, which seeks to create a more equitable and sustainable global economic system.